camera I'd set up and just forgot about. And I was down on an investigation in South Alabama one night trying to hide from the locals because everybody knew the ghost hunters were coming, and that was kind of scary. They only had one traffic light, so it was, a big deal. But
Wow.
I holed up in the hotel room with my friend and was going through evidence, and there it was. And we are late for our break, and I'm running my mouth. So we'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Just hang in there with us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcast.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Well, I decided to cut that a little short and just do a station ID, and I'm going to apologize to everybody for my cold. I hope I'm not just really all nasally and icky. But we are back already. And Alex, I led you astray. I told you it was going to be 2 minutes. My bad. But we haven't even talked about your ITC work.
Yeah.
And you're so good at it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, everything that I, do with ITC, I've definitely taken from learning from a bunch of great investigators, like you guys have showed me a lot of stuff. My friend Eric has showed me a lot, and he helped me build the gateway that I use. That is really awesome. It definitely helps. I mean, what I love about ITC is that there's so many different radios and different apps and different things you can use, and each one, I've just had different experiences with each one, and depending on like the location I'm at, different radios might work better for the communication at different locations. So like I like to bring a little bit of everything, try different things out, and see what happens. But what I've found is that when I'm holding a box, or if someone else is holding a box, it definitely helps with communication as opposed to just like turning a box on and sitting it down somewhere. And that's something that Tim Woolworth actually had told me about, and I actually tested it, and I found that a lot more was coming through when I was holding the box. And of course, more radio fragments and things can come through because your body acts as like an antenna as well. So when you're if you'll notice on some radios, or like even with old TV sets, when you would touch that antenna,
Absolutely. Good. I didn't make that correlation.
Yeah, so you'll notice that with radios too. Certain radios, if you touch them, like I use the 12587 a lot. If you touch the antenna on that, you're going to be picking up more stations and whatnot. But also, I noticed that just the the responses I was getting and everything are just like sometimes will blow me away. Like one, for instance, I was at Bart Thrasher's gravesite, which is in Bibb County, and not a lot of people know about Bart Thrasher, but he was actually an outlaw back in the 1800s, late 1800s, and he was an Alabama infamous outlaw, and they actually called it Bloody Bibb back then, Bloody Bibb County, because it was kind of like an extension of the Wild West.
Oh, wow. I'd never heard that.
Yeah, it's one of those little history bits that not a lot of people know about. But I was out there, and I actually got a response on there that said the law had shot me. And when I was digging around doing some research, I found out that he was actually shot by semi-famous, not famous to like you or I, but in history, it was like a famous Alabama lawman. So when you hear something like that, it really makes you wonder, because a lot of people can say, like it's just radio fragments or radio bits or pareidolia, or you're hearing things, but that's why recording it as clear as possible and then reviewing it is super important. And when you're getting things like cuss words and things like that should not be on the radio, that's another reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's another reason why Eric added the reverse function into the gateway, is that it completely reverses the whole signal chain coming from the radio. So if you're getting forward clear, you shouldn't be getting anything forward and clear. If you listen to things in reverse, it's going to usually sound pretty strange. It's going to sound like it's reversed.
Garbled.
Yeah, I mean, of course, some things could come through that sound like forward clear words, but when you're getting like answers to your questions or people's names who were involved with the location you're at or things like that, it starts to, I mean, it blows me away still, from the first time I ever turned on a PSB7 and started, doing sessions then. But one of my favorites still to this day is we were doing a session and asking about Poasttown Elementary School in Ohio. And I asked the spirit box, I said, if you're here from Poasttown, can you say Poasttown? And very clearly, and this was on a live stream as well, and people heard it. It very clearly comes back and just says Poasttown, and it's like it's just like so amazing to me. Like I couldn't. It's just so clear and so direct, and it's very rare for me when that happens. Like when it's like a clear, direct. It says what you asked, or like.
I love when that happens though, because it just catches you.
Yeah, it's like it just makes me constantly wonder how or what or like what is that because it's not of course it's not going to happen every time you do it, but there are the times when it does, and it's one of those things like when you get into science and everything, like doing an experiment and getting the same result every time you do an experiment. Well, with ITC and the paranormal in general, it's usually not going to be like that at all, which is just another thing that draws me to it more, is trying to figure out why this happens, or why at this time on this specific night. Like maybe it's something to do with the moon phase. I don't know. From what I've found, it's sometimes it can affect an investigation, but sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I've had really insane nights on new moon nights, and then there's been some new moon nights where nothing's happened. So I'm, trying to figure out all these pieces to the puzzle as to what causes what. And
Well, that's true, because there's places, locations vary. There's places where if there's a thunderstorm, that place is going to be rocking.
Yep.
Exactly. So everybody assumes that thunderstorms stir up activity. Well, a friend of mine owns a haunted jail, and if there's a thunderstorm, it goes flat.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, and that place is in constant motion. She keeps a portal running there, and when she's there, but they're always chatty.
Mm-hmm.
But if a thunderstorm comes through, it just flatlines, so to speak. And
yeah,
so different locations have different reactions to things.
Exactly. And even nights where, like you said, nights where it'll be crazy active and nights where it'll be completely dead, and
as it were.
Yeah. And maybe nothing happens. And another thing I love is how just people's different experiences at locations as well. Like, someone might see a shadow figure, or someone might hear a disembodied voice, and just the different things that people do experience. And then, I don't want to get into this because we could go into this for another hour, of course, but like the idea about, like the PK, like that your mind causes some of these things to happen. Like if I throw a rock, like when I threw the rock at Old Bryce, maybe my mind caused that rock to slam into the thing, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but telekinesis is fairly rare, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Just
I do know that poltergeistic activity, theoretically can be human based.
hmm
But
yeah, but what are like you said, I mean, it's very
telekinesis is
extremely
hard.
rare. So like how that's the thing about this. It's like there's no way to, prove or disprove of what caused something like that to happen. At least that we haven't found yet. So it's like I don't know. It's all just so deep and mind blowing to think
Well, it
about.
is. And, there's so much that we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing I'll definitely always, consider myself a student.
Oh, yeah.
And currently, one thing I got for Christmas is this old, all these. It's like a DVD, but it has all these old occult texts on it. All this stuff going into old mediumship and all kinds of stuff. And so I've been, reading through that and finding some interesting connections to, cases nowadays that I've been working on and things like that. So definitely always looking for trying to learn more about whatever I can involved with this kind of stuff.
Well, we have two things that we need to do before we go. And we've only got about 3 minutes. The first of which is that Joe wanted to know what you used to have the sexiest hair in the paranormal, and I told him that was a trade secret, and that Giorgio Tsoukalos is in a dire search to find that product. So we're not saying anything on the air.
Top secret.
And the other, I want you to tell people again how to find your big premiere and investigation, and also how to get in touch with you if they want to come and play.
Definitely. So I do have a website. It's still a work in progress, but if you go to spectralwolfpack.com, you can pretty much find all my pages from there. But if you search for Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal or on Facebook or YouTube, you can find it on there.
The YouTube is worth the visit, just saying.
Yeah, I've got tons of different videos on all kinds of different locations and things like that. Bigfoot Bob is my new Bigfoot channel, and I'm almost at 1,000 subs there. And when I hit 1,000 subs, I'll be doing a giveaway. So definitely subscribe to that if you haven't yet. And then Madhouse, a paranormal documentary, is our film that'll be coming out in April. And actually, this Friday, I believe at 5 Central, 6 Eastern, we're going to actually have our first trailer dropping from that. So you're definitely going to want to see that.
Definitely.
I've seen what Keith has, and it's an amazing trailer. It's going to hype everyone up for the film, and so search for Madhouse, the paranormal documentary. You can find that, and it's going to be great.
I'm excited to see it. And
it'll be on Amazon and everything like that. So.
Well, I'll be looking. So I can't wait. And, I'm really just so happy for you that project is coming out. I know people are going to respond well to it. And I just can't tell you enough how great I think this show has been, because you're such a good guest. And your information is so terrific.
Well,
thanks for being here.
And thanks so much for having me. I really had a great time.
Good. And with that being said, I just wanted to let everybody know that thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We appreciate every one of you. Y'all are the reason we do these shows and bring you great guests like Alex. And Friday night is going to be a replay for the Ghost Talk Radio. It's supposed to be live, but there's an issue, and Shelley is going to be coming live the following week. Then Thursday night, tomorrow night, is going to be Periscope Uncensored, and that's a fantastic show. You're going to enjoy that. They come on from